What parents are starting to Google, and what it means for your football club. The game is changing, parents, carers, guardians. PCGs are educating themselves, and clubs aren't keeping up. Here's what's coming. What PCGs are searching for Google Trends tells a clear story. Searches for reasonable adjustments, grassroots football are climbing. Equality Act youth sports, rising. Neurodiversity discrimination, rising. Can my child be excluded from football for behaviour? Rising. PCGs aren't just hoping their kids get good coaching anymore, they're researching their legal rights, why this matters. Because awareness is growing faster among PCGs than among clubs, PCGs know adjustments exist. They know the Equality Act creates duties. They know what discrimination looks like, but clubs, many still think we treat everyone the same is an acceptable response. It's not, it never was. And increasingly, PCGs know it. We cover this in our Understanding Neurodiversity and Grassroots Football Training, the Awareness Gap PCGs read articles about neurodiversity in mainstream media. They see celebrities talking about ADHD and autism. They join support groups with thousands of other families. They learn that their child has legal protections, that clubs must make reasonable adjustments, that exclusion without attempts at adjustment could be discriminatory. Meanwhile, coaches are learning what exactly? A one-off e-learning module that doesn't mention the Equality Act. A safeguarding course that treats neurodivergence as a medical issue. Maybe nothing at all. So you get this. PCG, my son has ADHD. Under the Equality Act, you need to make reasonable adjustments. Coach, we treat all players the same. No special treatment, that's not principled consistency. That's ignorance of legal obligations. And it creates conflict where there should be partnership. What happens when awareness meets ignorance friction? Complaints, potential litigation. PCGs feel the club doesn't understand their child's needs. Coaches feel PCGs are demanding unreasonable special treatment. Both sides get defensive. Trust breaks down, the player suffers. Often they drop out. And the club, they lose a player, damage their reputation, and potentially face complaints they could have avoided with basic awareness and documentation. The preventative approach. Here's the thing, most PCGs aren't looking for conflict. They're looking for partnership. They want clubs that understand neurodivergence, that make reasonable adjustments, that communicate clearly about what's possible and what's not. When clubs are educated and PCGs are educated, you get collaboration instead of confrontation. Educated clubs know their legal obligations under the Equality Act, what reasonable adjustments look like in football, how to document observations and adjustments, what's reasonable versus unreasonable to provide educated PCGs, know what adjustments are reasonable to request, how to communicate needs constructively, what clubs can realistically provide at grassroots level, how to support their child's self-advocacy. When both sides have realistic expectations and shared understanding, friction decreases dramatically. Why PCG education matters. Most clubs think PCG education means difficult PCGs asking for more stuff. Wrong. Educated PCGs are easier to work with, not harder. Because they understand. Clubs are volunteer, run with limited resources. Reasonable adjustments don't mean one-to-one support workers. Documentation helps everyone, not just the club. Communication goes both ways. When PCGs have access to expert guidance about supporting their neurodiverse child, they're less likely to direct frustration toward the club when challenges arise. They have tools, they have strategies, they have realistic expectations. And critically, they take more responsibility for their role in their child's success. That takes pressure off coaches. It builds trust. It creates partnership. What this looks like in practice. Imagine this scenario without PCG education. PCG. My son can't concentrate in training. You need to do something, coach. We can't give him special treatment. All players get the same coaching. PCG Googles Equality Act, finds rights, feels unsupported, files complaint with PCG education. PCG. My son struggles with verbal instructions. Could we try visual demonstrations? Coach, absolutely. I've been documenting some observations and we're already trying that strategy. PCG. Great. I've also learned some focus techniques we're using at home. Want me to share what's working? See the difference? One creates conflict, one creates partnership. The tool PCGs don't have, but do now. County FAs offer training for clubs, coaches and welfare officers. Almost none offer structured support for PCGs, so PCGs are left Googling, asking in Facebook groups, getting inconsistent, sometimes wrong information. That's a missed opportunity. A parallel PCG education system, running alongside club training, creates alignment. PCGs learn how to support their neurodiverse children in football, school, and life. Clubs learn how to make adjustments and communicate with families. Everyone's working from the same evidence base, speaking the same language, moving in the same direction. What you should do next? Talk to your county FA, ask if they offer PCG education alongside club training. Ask if they provide resources that help families understand reasonable adjustments, neurodiversity, and how to partner with clubs effectively. Ask if they have systems that create alignment between what clubs are learning and what PCGs are learning. If they don't, that's a significant gap. Because the PCGs, they're starting to educate themselves anyway. The question is whether clubs are keeping up. You get access to a parallel PCG education system and more by joining the FMHA Neurodiversity, Mental Health and Safeguarding Academy. The FMHA Neurodiversity, Mental Health and Safeguarding Academy gives your entire club unlimited access to unlimited seats in face-to-face training in neurodiversity, mental health, first aid and emotional regulation, monthly expert-led CPD from recognised specialists, football-specific resources updated monthly, matchday checklists, parent conversation templates, adjustment guides, a fiercely moderated peer community, no Daves allowed the player log app in development for documenting reasonable adjustments, free parent, carer, guardian academy, so families become partners, not problems, not a one-off workshop, not a Facebook group, an ongoing support system built specifically for grassroots football.